Welcome to the Hollywood Hustle channel, presented by Molly and Lester.
Hello, I'm Molly.
And I'm Lester.
And we're extremely excited to be your hosts on Hollywood Hustle.
In this podcast, we'll be deep diving into Charles Lenhoff's journal Hollywood Hustle. Gavin Polone's article was published at the same time that Lenhoff's federal antitrust lawsuit was being filed against UTA and ICM. It wasn't until 3 years later, when Lenhoff had lost both the case and its federal appeal, that the WGA took all of Lenhoff's statistics and evidence on price fixing by the so-called Uber agencies and used it to file their own case against these agencies. Now, Lenhoff's lawsuit against UTA and ICM made some significant claims. Let me walk you through them. In 2015, Lenhoff, along with his attorney Philip Kaplan, filed a federal antitrust lawsuit. They accused UTA, ICM, and other major agencies of violating the Sherman Act, engaging in unfair competition, and committing tort actions. The lawsuit highlighted a major issue in the entertainment industry: the way these Uber agencies, UTA, ICM, William Morris Endeavor, and CAA were monopolizing the market. By offering TV package deals, they were pushing smaller agencies out of business. Here's how it worked. These large agencies would co-package deals exclusively with each other, essentially creating a closed circle that shut out smaller competitors. They even had stakes in each other's companies, which allowed them to keep shuffling clients between their own agencies without letting anyone else in. And in the end, this cartel, as it's been described, shared the profits from these deals. In a healthy, competitive market, you'd expect to see pricing fluctuate, right? And new agencies would be entering the market. But that wasn't happening here. Instead, Lenhoff argued that these Uber agencies were engaging in what's known as a group boycott, a coordinated effort to block out smaller competitors. As a result, packaging opportunities were effectively out of reach for non-Uber agencies, and these larger firms could offer TV clients zero commission, while smaller agencies were still charging the standard 10%. That kind of predatory pricing only strengthened the grip of the Uber agencies. To give you a sense of the scale, back in 2002, these 5 agencies controlled 56% of the TV packaging market. By 2014, it was down to just 4 major agencies: ICM, UTA, William Morris Endeavor, and CAA, and they controlled a staggering 94% of the market. And if that wasn't enough, after the collapse of the ATA franchise agreement, billions of dollars in outside investment flooded into these Uber agencies, further cementing their dominance. Okay, so get ready, because today we're diving into a world that's pure Hollywood, but most people outside the biz don't even know it exists.
Yeah, we're talking about packaging.
Packaging. Until a few years ago, nobody outside those LA circles even knew to ask about it.
And then, boom, legal battles, accusations flying.
It's the kind of thing that makes you realize just how much power, how much money goes into deciding what we even see on our screens.
Absolutely. And the research we dug into?
Juicy. Reads like a Hollywood thriller itself.
Behind the scenes deals you wouldn't believe.
And a fight that could change Hollywood as we know it. So, where do we even begin?
We gotta rewind the clock. Go back to Hollywood's golden age, the 1940s. Picture this. Studios ruling the roost, those classic films, everybody in fedoras, and then this new thing pops up called television.
Ooh, I can already tell this is where things get interesting. So television throws a wrench in the system. What happens?
What? The studios, they're used to the whole movie-making machine. Exactly. Suddenly they need to make content for this new thing, and they need a lot of it.
Makes sense. Television chews up content like nobody's business.
Exactly. Now enter the talent agencies.
Who at this point were pretty comfortable taking their 10%, right?
Exactly. 10% commission, life was good, but they were no dummies. They saw this TV thing taking off and they smelled opportunity.
Opportunity and, let's be real, a whole lot of money to be made. So how do we go from agencies, rep talent, and talent gets hired, to this whole packaging thing?
It's like they found a loophole in the system and said, hold my martini. See, the agencies realized we've got actors, writers, directors, all these talented people on our books.
Why not offer studios a pre-packaged deal?
Exactly. Bundle their clients together, boom, ready-made show, ready to film.
So instead of a studio having to go find a writer, then a director, then try to sign some big actor.
The agencies swoop in with the whole shebang all tied up with a bow.
What studio head wouldn't love that? Talk about efficiency.
Right. Win-win on the surface, or so it seemed. Studios got their content. Agencies became more than just, hey, hire our client.
They were subtly power players, shaping what we actually saw on TV.
Exactly.
But hold on, wasn't there a rule about all this? Like, agencies weren't allowed to be producers too.
You're sharp. There's this thing called Screen Actors Guild Rule 16G, designed to prevent conflicts of interest.
Which makes sense. Can't be the referee and a player in the game.
Right. The rule basically said agents can't be producers on projects where they also rep the talent. Can't wear both hats.
Sounds sensible to me.
It does, doesn't it? Problem is Rule 16G allowed for packaging.
Ah, there's a loophole.
Exactly. Agencies claimed, hey, we're not producing, we're just, packaging our clients.
And for a while, that was enough.
It was enough.
So this loophole, this little bit of wordplay, it becomes the foundation for a very, very lucrative system for the agencies.
Very lucrative.
So last time we were talking about those agencies becoming Hollywood's ultimate matchmakers.
Matchmakers, yeah.
Thanks to this packaging system.
It had a certain ring to it.
But I get the feeling this match wasn't exactly good for everyone involved. What about the talent, though?
Right. The writers, actors, directors, the ones being packaged.
Yeah, what were the downsides for them?
Okay, put yourself in their shoes for a second. You're a writer.
Okay, hot new script.
Hot new script, exactly. Your agent calls, super excited. Hey, they say, we're going to package your show.
We got a big star attached, a director with a track record.
Hey, and the best part? We're waiving our commission.
Who wouldn't love to hear that? So where's the catch?
There's always a catch in Hollywood.
There has to be.
Here comes the packaging fee. See?
Okay, the what?
Packaging fee. So yeah, they waive the 10% on your salary.
Right.
But then they negotiate this separate fee with the studio.
For putting the package together.
Exactly.
Hold on, so they're getting paid twice.
Kind of, yeah. By the studio and technically by their client, even though
they waived that first fee.
Right. And we're not talking about a small bonus here.
No. Yeah.
These packaging fees were huge.
Like, how huge?
Millions of dollars sometimes per season.
Per season, on top of everything else.
On top of it.
Okay, yeah, now I see why people call the system shady.
Shady's one word for it.
Because the incentive for the agency then becomes...
make the show a hit.
Not even because it's good for their client.
Well, yeah, ideally.
But because the bigger the hit.
The bigger that fee.
Right. And that creates a conflict of interest. They should be fighting for the best deal for the writer, the actor.
100%.
But instead, it's like, quick packaging fee is more appealing than
negotiating a higher salary for their client.
Which could actually pay off more down the line, right?
Yeah.
If the show's a hit, back-end points.
You get it.
And the worst part.
Tell me.
The talent often had no clue this was going on.
None whatsoever.
One writer told us he only found out years later his agent was making bank.
After the show was already a smash hit.
Talk about rubbing salt in the wound.
Right. Missing out on all those residuals.
So this wasn't some abstract Hollywood problem. It had a real impact on people.
Real people, real career.
And it wasn't just writers either.
Oh, no. Directors, everyone.
Everyone was getting squeezed.
We talked to this director, been in the game a long time, said he felt pressured to use certain actors even when
they weren't right for the project.
Just because they were part of a package deal.
Wow. Stifling creativity, probably hurting the show in the long run.
Probably, yeah.
It's wild how this went on for so long. But you know what they say? All good things.
Or not so good things.
Must come to an end. When did the cracks start to show in this system? Last time, we were talking about how this packaging system was really starting to unravel.
Yeah, it was bound to happen, right?
All those whispers of shady deals, people feeling cheated.
It was a powder keg waiting for a spark.
So who finally spoke up? Who said, enough is enough?
Well, like we were saying, it was a slow burn. By the 2010s, people were getting fed up.
Fed up enough to actually do something about it? Because Hollywood can be a tough town to rock the boat in.
You said it. But the whispers got louder, More and more people were willing to share their stories.
So, who were some of these brave souls? Anyone we might know?
One of the first guys to really call out packaging publicly, producer Gavin Polone.
Okay, yeah, I know his work.
He was giving interviews, writing articles, calling packaging an embarrassment to Hollywood.
Wow, and that got other people talking.
It did. It's like he gave everyone else permission to finally say, me too, this happened to me.
Right, because it takes guts to speak up, especially when you're going up against a system that powerful.
Especially in Hollywood. But Polone was just the beginning, you know? The real turning point, I think, was in 2019.
What happened in 2019?
The Writers Guild of America,
WGA.
they decided to take on the agencies, filed this massive lawsuit, claiming packaging was a violation of antitrust laws.
I remember reading about this. It was huge news. So basically, the WGA's argument was
That with packaging, the agencies had too much control.
because they were representing the talent A&D controlling these production deals.
Exactly. It created an unfair monopoly, stifled competition.
And they also said something about fiduciary duty, right?
Oh, yeah, that was a big part of it, too.
Refresh my memory on that one. What's fiduciary duty again?
Basically, it means you have a legal obligation to act in someone else's best interest.
So a financial advisor, for example,
Perfect example. They have a fiduciary duty to their clients.
make them as much money as possible, give them the best advice, even if it means less money for the advisor.
Exactly. And the WGA said, hey, agencies are supposed to have that same duty to their clients, to the writers.
To the actors, directors, everybody they rep.
Right. But with packaging, the WGA argued they were putting their own financial gain ahead of their clients.
Because a quick packaging fee is more appealing than fighting for, I don't know, a better royalty deal for a writer that might take years to pay off.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, all this was happening behind closed doors.
Yeah, nobody knew how much these agencies were really making.
Zero transparency.
So you've got the WGA, this powerful union, taking on these massive talent agencies. Talk about David and Goliath.
It was a huge deal. Suddenly, everyone in Hollywood was paying attention. The agencies were backed into a corner.
Because their clients are furious, there's bad press everywhere.
And the threat of a long, drawn-out legal battle, nobody wants that.
So what did the agencies do?
They came to the negotiating table.
Had to.
In the end, they reached a settlement with the WGA, part of the deal.
Let me guess. They had to give up packaging.
They did. Can you believe that?
A system that lucrative that they'd been relying on for decades, they just walked away.
It's a seismic shift in power.
So what happens now? What does Hollywood look like post-packaging?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's still early, but we're already seeing some changes.
Like what? Spill the tea.
Well, smaller agencies, more niche, are popping up, focusing on specific types of talent, you know?
Okay, so instead of these huge agencies that are trying to be everything to everyone,
We're seeing a rise of specialists.
and without those packaging fees to chase.
Maybe they actually have more incentive to really fight for their clients.
Interesting. What else?
Some production companies are starting to handle their own talent searches.
Cut out the agencies completely.
Exactly. They're building their own in-house teams to find and package talent.
So it's a power shift.
Could be. From agencies to the production companies themselves. And then there's the talent.
The actors, writers, directors. What are they doing?
Some are forming their own production companies.
Wow, so they become their own packagers, cutting out the middleman completely.
Exactly. It's a whole new world out there.
So it sounds like the end of packaging has actually created a more diverse, maybe even more democratic Hollywood.
That's one way to look at it. It'll be fascinating to see how it all shakes out.
Absolutely. But no matter what happens, I think there's a bigger lesson here.
What's the...
This wasn't just about Hollywood. You know, this was about challenging an unfair system, speaking truth to power.
It shows it can be done.
Exactly. It takes guts, it takes perseverance, but change is possible, no matter what industry you're in, what system you're up against.
If something's not right, don't be afraid to speak up.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been a fascinating deep dive. Until next time, keep asking those tough questions, keep digging for those hidden truths.
And keep fighting the good fight. That wraps up this episode. Please check out the author's website at lenhoff.com to access all the research, exhibits, court filings, transcripts, and more. I'm Molly.
And I'm Lester, and we'll see you very soon on the next episode of Hollywood Hustle.